It's a privilege to be a part of celebrating Police Foundation Day. This is the 187th anniversary of the South Australia Police, the third oldest centrally organised police force in the world, after the Metropolitan Police and Dublin Metropolitan Police as well. So we have a long, proud history of serving South Australia, and today we recognise the ultimate sacrifice of one of our constables back decades ago when he lost his life in this particular location, protecting the community of South Australia.
Commissioner, the sad history all the way through, so many officers have lost their lives, most recently in the southeast of course, but a reminder that is not new, tragically.
Well, it just shows that people who take on the role of serving their community as police officers do so knowing that there is inherent risk in that occupation, and we're hopeful that the training and equipment and support we provide those police officers makes it as safe as possible, but we can't get away from the fact that there are dangers in policing, and there are sadly there have been 62 occasions when South Australian police officers have lost their life in the line of duty. So this is a stark reminder to people that of the selfless service that police officers provide their community, and the immense professionalism that they do it with.
Commissioner, last week you announced there will be a review of the district policing model. How are you going with that, and have you found someone to lead that?
We are still going through the process of identifying the appropriate independent body to undertake that review, whether it's an individual with law enforcement experience or an agency that has the ability to do a completely independent review. Once we have that review entity identified, we'll be making that announcement, but we're working on it as quickly as possible. This is not a review that I want to take extensive amount of time to complete. I would like it done as quickly as possible so we can take into consideration any findings that come out of that review process that helps frontline police officers deal with the growing demands on their services every single day.
And what do you think officers need? I mean, you've got the government here behind you. Is it more feet on the ground, more funding?
Well, I'm actively engaged with my Minister about the future requirements of policing in South Australia. But there are also other aspects that we need to be considering in terms of optimal rostering, making sure that police are doing what matters most in terms of policing, that we are finding efficiencies that enable them to undertake the significant tasks that fall on their shoulders every single day. We do know that demand is growing in South Australia for police services, and it's about making sure that we have police officers doing what they must be doing and freeing them up from some of the things that prevent them from getting to extra taskings or being proactive in the community.
And speaking of demand, would you say at the moment it's fair to say that officers have never been more in demand or more demands?
All of our stats show us that the demands on frontline police have never been greater. And there are a range of factors for this that I clearly don't have time to elaborate on, but it's a recognition of the fact that it's not just about more people, it's about identifying what police officers should be doing in the community and freeing them up to do those tasks.
Commissioner, why has it taken so long to get to this stage? There have been calls for this, for a review and changes for years now.
Well, the district policing model first commenced in 2018. Stage one of this district policing model started in 2018 when we created the 4 districts, and we equalised the workload across all 4 districts. And prior to that, there was significant disparity, with some areas working far more intensely than others. So that was a positive outcome from stage one of the DPM. The second stage was the introduction of district policing teams, and the task of the district policing teams is to reduce that ongoing demand in our community by dealing with recidivist issues. Sadly, the second stage was implemented on the 24th of March 2020, just a few days after the declaration for the major emergency for COVID. That had a dramatic impact on the availability of police resources as we diverted police officers to COVID-19 duties right across the state. Ever since then, we have been trying to push as many resources into the model as possible, but we've been working against this increasing demand at the same time. So we have reviewed the DPM previously, and that was done in 2023 with a view to determining whether it is the right way to go forward and maintain. That review internally indicated to us that we were on the right track and that we should stick with the model. Notifying or acknowledging the concerns of the workforce generally, this review is an update of that, but it will be done independently so that my people can appreciate that we are going to this completely transparently, and that the outcomes will be shared and people will understand which is the right way to go forward.
So the model is a victim of COVID?
The model was impacted by COVID, but it's also about the increasing demand. There has been significant growth in a range of different demands on police services since 2018. We can clearly demonstrate that, and you can only do so much with the resources available, so we need to make sure we're doing it the best way possible.
Will you be implementing some changes straight away, or will you wait for what the review of the model?
There are some changes underway in terms of how we manage demand, but we'll wait and see what the independent review tells us about the best way to provide a policing service on the front line in South Australia.
Regarding Jason Joy, David Stimson was recently found not guilty due to mental incompetence. What was the response from the force to that?
I think it's fair to say that no matter what the outcome of the judicial process is, it doesn't bring Jason back. It doesn't diminish the harm felt by all police officers and members of families of serving police officers as well. We acknowledge that this is the determination of the DPP and the court outcome, and we've been making sure that Jason's family and friends have been kept up to date of the progress of this particular process. We all still feel the loss of Jason, and that won't change. We take some comfort in the fact that Stinson has accepted responsibility for his actions and admitted what he has done. It is a matter for the court to determine the best way forward from here.
Has there been a change in the approach to situations like that now, considering it's such a long time between deaths of serving officers?
Every incident like this is critically reviewed. Obviously, it's not just the court process. We have our internal review processes, and the coroner has an interest in determining the cause and circumstances of every death in South Australia. So it is closely reviewed. There have been no specific changes to police practices at this point in time. The officers who responded on that day found themselves in an incredibly difficult situation, which ultimately cost Jason his life and saw one of our other police officers seriously injured. Notwithstanding the review, we haven't made any findings that would see us change our practices, change our equipment, or any other aspect of what they've confronted on that day.
Commissioner, there was a crash at the Speedway yesterday. What can you tell us about that incident?
I don't have much more to add than what people probably already know, is that a 30-year-old man sadly lost his life at the Speedway yesterday afternoon, and we are working through the investigation process. What I would ask is if any witnesses to the incident have video footage, that they make that available for us, because that would be very helpful in determining the full circumstances of the tragic event.
Right, we might bring the minister up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Well, can I start by congratulating Commissioner Grant Stevens and also South Australian Police for establishing today's memorial to Foot Constable Holman for the shocking murder which occurred here at this location almost 100 years ago for a serving police officer while on duty. To have that occur in Adelaide, as we heard from John White, was deeply shocking to the community. And as the Commissioner has said, it just shows that for the last 187 years, the clear and very present danger that police officers have faced from day one has always been a great risk, and it underlines just the extraordinary commitment that each police officer brings to their role in protecting our community. So I think today's memorial is a really further positive step in reaffirming the recognition that South Australian police officers have provided in their commitment to the community for almost 200 years now.
Minister, has SAPOL failed South Australians with the district policing model?
No, I don't think you can make that comment. I think the Commissioner's made it clear that this has been in practice now for quite some time. I think we can be extremely proud as South Australians that we have got the most highly regarded police force in the nation, and we've got a Commissioner who is consistently looking at ways to further improve SAPOL's capacity to continue protecting the community, and has been proactive in undertaking this review, and the government supports him doing so.
Questions? Will you make funding available if that's what the force needs?
Oh, well, I mean, regardless of any review that might be undertaken by South Australian Police each and every year, There is a discussion between SAPOL and me as Treasurer and with Treasury about their need for additional resources, and the Commissioner is absolutely right. The demands on South Australia's police have never been higher and are only expected to continue to increase. The job, I think, 10 or 15 years ago is substantially different from what it is today. We're seeing pressures on police today which would not have been anticipated 10, 15, 20 years ago. The time requirements for police taskings for domestic violence, mental health related taskings, these are consuming an enormous amount of police resources, and that simply wasn't the case in the past. So that informs the government the need to step up resources to South Australian Police. We've done that since coming to office over the first 3 budgets of this government, and as the Commissioner's indicated, we are continuing to have those discussions as we formulate this year's budget, which I'll be handing down on the 5th of June.